celebrating 12 years of possibility. Pilot Flying J and Halloran Hilton Hill present Anything is Possible. Today's guest, Atlee Hammaker, Part 2.
Welcome to Anything is Possible. Great stories about great people who prove with their lives that anything is possible. This is Part 2 of my interview with Atlee Hammaker. Love the story that is unfolding here. We've moved through, and if you're just joining us, we moved through the beginning of his life, which starts in Carmel, California. He's an Army brat, I guess that's what they call it. So you've lived all over. You actually lived in Alexandria, Virginia, where you played basketball. And what's interesting is you talked about the scholarship. You actually got a football scholarship because there weren't enough slots on the basketball team, but you swapped it to play basketball. But then in the middle of your basketball college career, you end up playing baseball, which led you to pro baseball. And we kind of left off on how your faith started to emerge. And so I'm very interested in this story because you said you get called up to the majors. You had been resistant. You felt this call of God. You got saved and you felt this call of God. And one of the calls was, hey, can I get 10%? And you were like, do you see this bonus? Let's negotiate.
True story.
So you finally go through a couple of rounds. You're 7-0 in the minors. And you decide, you know what, I'm going to go ahead, under the encouragement of your wife, Jenny, to go ahead and give 10%. And you get called up to the majors. And before you even get into the majors, there's a trip to Japan to do some exhibition play there. And I've had this experience before where I think I'm going to cancel God out by going through whatever the formal system is. So I'm going to go to the front office, ask if Mama can go with me to Japan. They're going to say, you're not even on the team really yet. No, Mama can't go. You should be happy to go. Mom, Dad, get to go. You ask Dad, look, you stay where you belong. We'll be back here. Don't come back here. Now he does what any great German dad would do. Let's get to the facts. How's this going to work?
Yes.
When is my son going to start? And let me see your fingernails. Let me make sure your fingernails are
right.
So you said you're looking at all this unfold, but you said there was something that happened that was significant, and that's where we left off, and that's where we pick up.
Well, I'd played, by this time, I'd played in the major leagues for 82, 83, 84, 85, so I've had going to my 5th year. I made the All-Star team in 1983. I led the league in ERA in 1983, had a great year, and I got hurt my shoulder. And I thought I was done. So I went to a private doctor toward the end of that season to see if I was okay, and I found a torn rotator cuff. And back then, in the day, you had torn rotator cuff, you were done.
Done.
And so I'm thinking, good night. And they had just come back and offered me a 3-year deal. They want to extend my contract 3 more years guaranteed. And so these are things that happened that I feel like, there are turning points in my life I could have been misleading. So I called my agent and said, what do I do in this situation? I said, I can take the money. It's guaranteed. Now I know I'm hurt. Because how do you feel about it? I said, I want you to be the professional. I hired you. If I have to make the call, and I don't feel right doing it. So I need to go tell them I'm hurting. And so
wait, whoa! You got to slow me down on this because this is guaranteed money.
That's guaranteed.
You signed the deal.
I don't have to wait 3 years.
Do you mind telling me what the number was? Do you remember?
Back then, it was. I've been coming off a 3-year. That would have been pyramid. So it would have been. I think it would have been 5, 6, or 7. 5, 6, and 7. I think it was the numbers. 550, 650, 750, somewhere in that range.
That's some money. For me. That's some money.
It was, and that was, but I knew that I would be okay. I mean, I was thinking future.
Right.
And I thought, but anyway, I told him I was hurt, and I heard about a doctor named Dr. Jim Andrews that I used to see when I was in minor leagues when I was with the Kansas Royals, and Dr. Andrews is well known throughout the sports circle. He's the one that operates all the major athletes now.
So let me, because you passed by this kind of, you passed by this kind of quickly. So you fessed up. I'm hurt. You told him.
Yeah.
That we got to pause right there because that's a significant thing. Guaranteed money. You can kind of con your way through the situation, basically, and you get guaranteed money. We're not even talking about bonuses. We're not talking about it. This is just the guaranteed portion of that 3-year deal. And you said, I'm hurt. Let's pause right there, and we'll come back and we'll talk about what happens after you fess up and how an injury changed your trajectory, as it were.
Okay.
Wow. This is Atlee Hammaker. You're watching Anything is Possible. We'll be right back.
Possibility powered by Pilot Flying J, Covenant Health, Home Federal, and the Knoxville News Sentinel. Coming up.
All I had was God at that point. I didn't care about it. I'm telling you, I didn't care about it. I prayed and said, take the game. Give me sanity.
This is Anything is Possible. I'm Halloran Hilton Hill, and don't forget, we're trying to make the show much more mobile friendly. So we have a YouTube channel. The information is here. We also are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We post the shows there. So if you love this show, tweet about it. Actually send the link to your friends. This is a great 2-part interview with Atlee Hammaker, and I hope you will share this with as many people as you possibly can. Atlee, thank you for being with us today. I'm loving this story. I'm loving this. Now, where we leave off is, you've got a guaranteed 3-year deal, but you hurt your shoulder. It's rotator cuff, and back in the day, and this is 82,
This is 83.
83, that's a deal breaker. You're done at that point. So pick me up from there.
Well, I went and saw I told the general manager, Tom Howell, at the time, and of course they took the deal off the table, and they wanted to make sure that I would get the right help. And I told him I wanted to see Jim Andrews. He said, he's not our team doctor. I said, I want to see Jim Andrews after this moment chance, I believe. And I don't know, that's another thing. I don't know why. I thought I saw him in AA for my elbow when I was at Columbus, Georgia. And I remember him saying he's a young and upcoming doctor, he's one of the best in the business. He's the one who invented the scope.
Okay.
And Lanny Johnson invented it, he perfected it.
Right.
So I flew down to Columbus, Georgia, Houston Clinic at the time, went and saw Andrews, and I'll never forget, he took the x-ray and looked at it, and you can't see an x-ray unless you put it on light. And he said, yeah, you got a slight tear in your rotator cuff. I said, can you see it? And he said, give me a 600-watt lamp. He threw that on there, and I saw that they shot dye in there, and he saw the dye coming through. So he said, coming out, that's where they got the tear. I said, we can fix you, and you'll be good to go. So he did it by scope, had the operation, and he told me, and I'll never forget waking up, he said, Roger Clemens just struck out 20. I did operate on his shoulder last year.
Wow. And
we had the same agent. Roger and I had the same agent, so he's saying, it's good news. He told me that you're going to be all right. So anyway, I knew that I had a chance of coming back now. I had to take a year off, and I came back. So I missed 83. I came back in 84. I was ready for the season in 84. And I pitched 2 games, did great, and my elbow locked up in Philly. And now I'm out again. And so I'm saying, what in the world? So, and then that's why guaranteed deals are good, because I was guaranteed those 2 years. But anyway, I got my elbow fixed, came back in 85, and then didn't have a great year. Our team lost 100 games, and Vida Blue and I were the only ones that took every start. Everybody else bailed out. We were struggling. They said, "Well, I'm not taking my September starts. I'm done." And Vida goes, "You and I, we're going to finish this out. Win or lose, we're finishing." So and Vida and I became good friends, and he helped me a lot. But going into 1986, where I wanted to get to is, where you asked me what changed my life, and I haven't really shared the story. I don't know how many people had time to share this, but in 1986, going into in October, my shoulder was still bothering me, still hurting. And I was working out, and I became very anxious and fearful, if that's the right word. And I don't know what was going on. I thought my career was done. I don't know what happens in your mind when this happens, but I went through a tough mental deal. And I remember driving through Kansas City and seeing the old guys that I used to play with on the way to San Francisco to get ready to go to spring. And I played basketball with the guys there that we're not supposed to be played. And I remember my ankles swelling up both sides. I said, what in the world is wrong with me? And so I became anxious. I mean, it just kind of unraveled me a little bit. And so October, November, December, I was going through it. I thought going through over the San Francisco Bridge, the Golden Gate, and meeting with my trainer, and I had a stomach ache that wouldn't go away. It was so bad I felt like driving off the bridge. I was thinking, what in the world? It's 2 weeks of this thing. So you always think, God, I wonder if it's cancer. So I went and got.
Did you just say you felt like driving off the bridge?
Yeah, it was so bad and aggravated. I've been dealing with this for 2 weeks. I go, what is wrong? I feel like I just want to get out, just get away from this. And not that I ever would, but just how it felt. And then And so I went and saw a doctor and an internist, and he said, "I'll put a scope." I said, "Get a scope down there and see what's going on," because I just wanted to see what was up. And so I went and he put a scope down. He goes, "Yeah, you got inflammation there, but nothing serious. You'll be all right. It's like a what do you call it, ulcer. It's pretty bad." But I said, "That's not what's wrong with me." And so I was losing weight like crazy. I was 214. I was down at 190 to 188. And I was working out and drinking shakes. I said, "What is going on?" So I don't know how to explain Howland, but I can tell you, mentally, I was going in my mind. Fearful. I guess my career was done. Jenny was pregnant. I think that probably had something to do. I don't know, but I became very anxious and had some panic attacks, I guess what they call them. And I remember going to bed and waking up and it felt like I slept all night and it'd be 5 minutes. I go, what in the world is wrong with me? And so I didn't even worry about going to spring training, to be honest with you, going into 1986. I didn't care about going to spring training. I didn't care if I played. And I was, by the way, I was into my contract. 85 was my last year. I was negotiating.
So what was wrong with you?
I think it was anxiety disorder I had. I think it was some spiritual depression, to be honest with you. And I think it turned into depression somewhat. And it
So you had depression and you suffered from anxiety.
No, quite. Looking back and going in the midst of it, I was in some kind of attack. And I remember that's when but telling you all that to say that all I had was God at that point. I didn't care about, I'm telling you, I didn't care about, I prayed and said, take the game, just give me sanity. This is what's going on, what is going on. And I saw doctors, I was in spring training. I go to spring training, and I told John, I don't know how I'm going to stand out there in the field and even catch a ball, much less do anything. She goes, you are fine. I went to spring training, never worked out. I've never gone to spring training, never worked out. I didn't work out at all. I just showed up. And I was running out in the outfield, and my left knee went out. I said, what in the world? I couldn't even walk. So now I had a physical excuse for missing this part of the season because I was actually physically hurt. My shoulder was still bothering, like I told you. Now my knee's out. But really it was a mental thing. And that was a godsend. That covered me. And you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But really mentally something was going on. And I don't know. I went and I talked to our general manager, who's Al Rosen. And he said, I'm going to send you back to Stanford. You are absolutely fine. I know you think something's bothering you. You think they're missing it. And that's how I felt. They're missing something. Something wrong with me. They're missing it. And I said, I'm flying you back to Stanford. We'll do $50,000 worth of tests on you. If you come back and you're fine physically, I want you to see a psychiatrist. That's my general manager. I said, Al, if it's mental, I'm good right now. Ain't a mental issue.
Yeah, I would imagine that a guy like you, that your whole life, nobody outworks you, you can always figure it out. You're not going to a psychiatrist. That's out. So what happened?
Right. I went to Stanford and they did the test. And he goes, every test you want to do. I mean, we went to a battery test. I mean, endocrine system, all that. And then I come back to spring. I think I came back. I missed 2 days, I guess. I came back, and he said, okay, you got a clean bill of health. And I went to the neurologist, thought, I thought they took 3 hours to me. Some guy came out that was retired that ran the Stanford Hospital, came in and spent that all day, and he told me, he goes, I'm going to tell you something. I have multiple sclerosis. Here I am, here we go. He said, you are 100% perfect neurologic. I said, are you kidding me?
So now you got to go see.
He goes, there's something deep inside of you that's caused you to be anxious. I said, you really believe that, doctor? He goes, I know it. I've been around a long time.
So you go see a psychiatrist?
Not then. Well, yeah, I did. I went back to Arizona, spring training, and he picked some guy who wanted me to come see him. I went and saw him for 2 days, 2 different sessions, and he goes, are you anxious about things, and are you depressed about things? And I said, Doc, can I ask you, are you anxious about things? Do you get depressed? He goes, yes. I said, well, there's nothing abnormal. I mean, I feel fine. I can convert. I'm fine. Something's wrong with me. I don't know what it is. And so he gets a report back to Al Rosen. He goes, this guy he's absolutely fine, 100% mental. He's fine. So he goes, there's no excuse. So that, I did do that. But I knew that I fooled that doctor. I knew something was wrong. I didn't know what. I really didn't know what it was. And it's one of those things where you say you have somewhat of a mental breakdown issue. I don't know. Part of me was absolutely perfect. Part of me was unraveled.
Wow.
And it took me, then I went and got my knee operated on. I got my shoulder operated on that year as well. And I think I came back, and then I had, Eric was born April. So April the 5th, Eric was born. So that's January, February, March, April, May, June, trying to rehab and do it with myself. And I just prayed for God to deliver me. I'm just, the honest truth is. And I had a neighbor upstairs that lived where I was in San Francisco, and she was as bad as I was. I'm saying, what in the world is going on? And I had a friend, an old man named Stan Weisberg, that took him to the game every day. He was 79 years old, Jewish man. loved to go to the ballpark with me. He used to come over and said, get up, and I was on the couch for 3 months. He goes, you get up and walk in the parking lot with me. You can do it. I said, here's Sam Weisberg, 80 years old, man, trying to get me going. Sam, I can't, if I walk out in the parking lot, I'll collapse. He goes, you won't collapse. You look green, but you're gonna be okay. So over time, I just, I came to the point, I said, you know what, if I have a heart attack or I collapse, then so be it. This is ridiculous. And God gave me, I'm telling you, God delivered me. And I came back in 1987. I had to come back here and come back and play with the Giants. Got the biggest deal I've ever gotten. When I produced, I got paid well. Missed 86. He guaranteed that contract. By the way, I never tell you that. Alrose said, I think you're fine, and to prove it, I'm going to give you a guaranteed deal for the year. I said, Jen, he goes, this guy's a nut. He just guaranteed a deal. I'm not even playing. So you'll be fine. That's how I was thinking. I wasn't going to be around. And then 87, I did come back. And then I had a top 10 in the league in ERA, and I got another 3-year deal. But that's when I changed. I mean, because God truly delivered me. I mean, He directed my life all those years. I was talking about the great things that happened, basketball to baseball, stuff with Kansas City, and my parents getting to go, and great experiences. And he honored my faith in a little way when it's not a big deal, but to me it was a big deal back then when I gave 10%. Now He's dealing with me in a different way. Now you're maturing your faith. You got to trust me. You got to live for me. You got to glorify me in everything you say and do as best you can. And I fall short. I mean, we all do. But that's what you know what? I can't deny what God did there. He healed me totally, and I couldn't take medication. I don't take medication, never have, because I don't know. Maybe it's that thing you're talking about, but I felt like, Lord, just deliver me.
Wow.
And He gave me back my life.
Let's talk about your life now.
Okay.
And your faith now. What a story. I tried to tell you, this is the television show Anything is Possible, and my guest is Atlee Hammaker, and we'll finish the story when we come back.
Coming up.
And now we say, okay, what do we do the rest of my life? I mean, how do you give back? How do you reach somebody else? How does God love other people through me? How does He work that miracle?
This week, our Home Federal Bank Community Spotlight is on Volunteer Ministry Center. Did you know that Volunteer Ministry Center works to prevent and end homelessness for people in Knox County? They offer supportive housing for the disabled, indigent dental care. To learn more and see how you can get involved, visit vmcinc.org.
What a story today. We're here with Atlee Hammaker. You're watching Anything is Possible. Great stories about great people who prove with their lives that anything is possible. Wow. Thank you for being willing to open that up, because I think you're speaking to a lot of people, and especially men. I mean, you're a guy's guy. You're not, I don't think you're going to go home and watch Oprah's masterclass and cry.
No, I don't think so. You're right. You're right about that.
Right. You're not that guy, but for you to be vulnerable enough to share that part of your story, but to share the way God kind of shape-shifted your faith so that it fit more where He wanted you to be is a big deal, and it created a whole new set of possibilities.
All right, good question.
Where are you now? Where are you now? What are the possibilities of your life now?
Well, I feel like the first part of my life is try to become something, somewhat make a living, be independent was my goal. And then the middle of the part, now I'm 56 years old, I felt like raising a family was my priority, and I have 5 great kids. I'm so thankful for them. My wife has been obviously the best part of that. And now we say, okay, what do we do the rest of my life? I mean, how do you give back? How do you reach somebody else? How does God love other people through me? How does He work that miracle? Because I'm not the most loved person in the world. So, I mean, so that's how, and so I think it started with a guy that I met, a guy named Mike Flamini. He's a construction guy, and I met him when he did part of our house. I gave him a Bible, shared Christ with him. He was really open. A few years later, I didn't know he was a crack addict, and he's back in. He called me 3 or 4 years later. After that, we had a relationship. He was in jail. He needed to be bailed out. I didn't understand that addiction really quite that much at that point. I had players that were addicted to cocaine or took cocaine, but this was, just floored by it. So anyway, I bailed him out, and I thought he was fine. This guy's fine, and I got him a job at Smith & Hammaker, tried to get him going.
Your company.
Yeah, and then he fell again, he was going for prison for robbery, supposedly 16 robberies, and I said, "Yeah, no way he robbed 16. I mean, I just know him. I mean, it's not the guy that I know." And so he told me that he did one. He robbed $62. Didn't have anything in his hand, but wrapped a T-shirt around his hand. And in Tennessee, if you have intent, if you're a person, the cash register, if you think somebody's going to rob you and you think they have something hidden, it's a federal offense.
Wow.
It's like you might as well have a weapon. And I don't know why we're going here, but anyway, Mike was up for 16 years in prison, so I got a lawyer out of Atlanta and tried to get the best guy I could for him, and he ended up going to jail anyway, and he's served, I think, 5 years of it. Got out about a year and a half ago, and he's doing great. He's been clean for a year. He went to a place called Focus, which helped him, and I've been with him, and I just, that's what got me thinking, you know what, there's a lot of people who are falling through the cracks that people don't know, don't care. And I think people do care, they just don't know how to get involved. And so I started thinking, and then I saw Judge Pippin, who I know you know him.
Yeah.
He's been at church and he had his own great story. And he asked me that he'd been praying about it, that he felt like my name came into his mind and for helping at Carm. I said, that's interesting. And
So you want to give back and make a difference.
No question.
As we close this interview, and thank you, you have no idea how you encouraged me through your story and helped me see new realms of possibility. One word to summarize all that we talked about and all that's important to you. One word.
Hope.
Yep, that's the word.
Hope.
That's it. That's fine.
Thank you so much.
Atlee Hammaker, thank you for being on Anything Is Possible.
My pleasure, Helen. Thanks for putting up with me.
We'll see you next time.